I still get tempted by shiny new stuff every once in a while, so in order to protect my wallet and my discipline, I created a do not buy list that helps keep all of the unnecessary clutter and spending way down in my life. So I thought it'd be cool to share the 9 things that I've cut out from my budget completely, from apps to fancy drinks to lazy DoorDash runs, so you can see which ones might give your budget a little bit of breathing room as well. And if you're into simple, frugal living, hit that subscribe button and we'll get right into number 1. The first one is on apps. Now, I've never spent money on an app in my life on purpose. Last year, I downloaded a meme generator app so that I could do something for one of my videos. And then I was looking at the checkout cart and it said that it would be $20 a month to buy this meme app, which is obviously ridiculous. And so I just closed it out, I deleted the app, and I didn't do anything with it. And then a few months later, I noticed that I had gotten recurring $9 charges on my bank account for something related to an Apple bill, and I thought it was really weird. Turns out it was this app that was charging me $9 every month just to do nothing with it, and so I canceled that immediately. But the point is that I'm not going to spend money on apps purposely, because I believe that you can get almost anything that you're looking for free if you look hard enough on Google or with AI now. For example, one app that I use constantly is Obsidian for my second brain, and that's where I store all of my notes and everything for YouTube and all of my writing. And there is a paid version of this, but all it does is allow you to download and sync to the cloud so that you can use your Obsidian app anywhere. I only use it for my laptop, and so I don't need to download and pay for that. And if I want to back up my data, I can just store it in a Google Drive for free because it's up to 15 gigs. And that's just a very simple way to get what you want through an app without having to actually pay for it. The next one is watches. Back in 2020, I got really into them during COVID, and I had a YouTube channel that I was following a bunch of different watch channels. That turned out to be really expensive. The cheap watches that are known to be pretty nice are like $1,000 or more, and then you can get into the crazy price ranges of like 10, 20, 30K. I even saw one watch that was like $200,000, which you could almost buy a house with that, so that's kind of insane. But my watch collection looks like this. So it's not really that impressive, and that's because they got really expensive really fast. I think the most expensive watch I have is a $300 Citizen watch, and I stopped after that because I realized that it wasn't really adding much value to my life, but it was draining my bank account for what's essentially just men's jewelry, which is not a necessity for life at all. So I stopped buying watches. Hey, sit. Number 3 is Mismatched Clothes. I used to have a closet that looked like a bag of Skittles, and it was an absolute mess because I thought neon colors and stuff was really cool. But since then, I've actually really simplified my wardrobe to be a lot of neutral colors, mainly black, white, some tans, and that's pretty much it. And the reason being is, number 1, I think it looks a lot nicer than what I had before, and number 2, it's a lot simpler to maintain and keep consistent, and then just match everything together. So a lot of my outfits can go with one another, shirts with pants, different boots or shoes with the same outfit, whatever. It makes it a lot easier and saves me tons of money because I don't need to buy every piece of a single outfit just to make one work. I can get one new shirt and get 10 outfits out of it because it can be interchanged with pretty much anything else in my closet. And so even though some of the items might be a little bit more expensive than cheap clothes that you can find, I find it a lot more valuable because it's high quality stuff, it lasts longer, and I can use it with every other outfit that I have. Milo, I love you. You have something to say? My buddy. Why is it not focusing? The 4th thing I no longer spend that much money on is books. The way I used to do this was I would just go on cheap websites like thriftbooks.com or Amazon, and I would buy the cheapest version of a book that I could find. But after filling a shelf with books that aren't really that useful to me, I realized that I'm just wasting money on something I'm not really gonna read anyways. So instead, what I do is I will find a preview of a PDF version of it and read the first chapter or 2 and see if I even like the book at all, if it's worth spending money on. If it is, I'll buy it and I'll read the whole thing and I'll highlight it, take notes and whatever. But if not, it helps me save money and time because then I don't have to buy the book and then read the whole thing and then not get anything out of it. Most books only have like 1 or 2 hidden gems in them, and then they're just surrounded with a bunch of other stories. This is a great example of where this tip would have helped me. I love Simon Sinek. I think that's how you say his name. I think he's a wonderful leader. I think his emotional intelligence is incredibly high, but his book title, this gives away the whole thing. Start with why. That's all you need to know. The whole thing is just filled with stories on leaders reiterating his point. And once I already understood the point, I didn't find any more use for that book. So if you can find free, ethical ways to get access to a book, like a preview of a PDF or go to your library, for example, that's a great way to save a few extra bucks every time you want to gain some knowledge or read a cool story. Sorry, Simon. Hey, how's it going? The 5th thing we don't spend money on anymore is streaming services, and there's a couple reasons for this. Number 1, you probably know somebody who has access to whatever streaming service that you want, who's willing to give you their login, because it really doesn't take away from them, and if your friends or family, they're just willing to share. That totally works. Number 2, by the time you subscribe to every streaming service that exists today,
you're gonna be spending $100 or $200 just to get access to the shows and movies that you like, and chances are you're not even gonna use remotely half of what they offer. So really, you're spending that money to get 1 or 2 shows. Kind of a waste of money in my opinion. And number 3, I wanna be productive with my time. I don't really wanna sit around watching stuff and just getting used to consuming as a form of entertainment for me. I've learned that creating is a lot more enjoyable, and it brings me a lot more passion and fulfillment in my life because I get to learn along the way, and I get to create things that I like and I think are fun and cool. And so I get to build a skill while also saving money. And then when you get monetized on YouTube like I just did, you get to start making money, which I've made a whole $1.37 so far. So I only need to do this a million more times and I'll be a millionaire. Pretty cool.
The next one is DoorDash. Now, this one's kind of crazy to me because I don't see why anybody would really spend money on DoorDash unless it's some type of dire need that you have to have McDonald's shipped to your house right away. But anytime I've gotten something like DoorDash or Uber Eats, the food is always way colder than normal if you just go to the restaurant because obviously they have to drive it over to you. You're probably not the only person on their route either. And so it's going to take longer than it would have if you just go get the food yourself. It costs more because the fees are kind of crazy and the prices are higher than if you just go to the store. And 3, it's not healthy because most of the time you're just going to be ordering fast food. And so if you just cook at home, you beat out all of those problems with a single decision. We've used it a few times when we had gift cards for it, but otherwise it's not really worth it in my opinion. The other one I don't spend much money on is random supplements. The only supplement in the world that has been studied enough to be unbelievably credible is creatine, and that for me has not really had an effect. I've taken it on and off over the past 10-15 years for enough time to where it should make a difference, and I haven't really noticed any difference. The only supplement I actually take on some type of regular basis is protein, and this is organic protein because I have a little girl tummy and I can't handle whey protein. But other than that, the most impactful thing that you can do in your fitness journey is sleep and eat good food. In that order. Sleep is number 1. If sleep was any type of supplement, if you could take a pill and have the benefits of sleep without any drawbacks, that would be the greatest supplement in the world. It would sell for billions and billions of dollars. Those 2 things alone helped me when I played hockey, when I've done jiu-jitsu, rock climbing, and calisthenics. If you just sleep and eat good food, you don't need to spend money on all of these crazy supplements because the prices are crazy and a lot of them don't work and the companies can often be a scam. It's a whole mess. So we don't really buy that much supplements anymore. The 8th thing that we don't spend money on anymore is Kleenex. I understand not buying Kleenex is not going to make us millionaires. That's not really the point. I think the principle behind it is something that I've found a lot more interesting and important. And the principle is find things in your house or in your life that aren't really a necessity that you haven't thought about before. What I mean is, growing up, I always had Kleenex in my house because I thought you had to have it to blow your nose. Kind of a silly thought, but if you never reconsider it when you're older, you probably don't even question something that you've always done. And so when we bought this house, we were filling it up with all the things that you do when you buy a house. And after a couple weeks, I realized we didn't have any Kleenex and we were still alive. Turns out you don't need it. Instead, we just used paper towels, or you could grab a little bit of toilet paper and blow your nose and it works the same. So while we may or may not be spending money because we're using other things instead that we're buying with, I don't know, I haven't fully calculated out the little pennies and dollars that we might be saving or spending extra on. But again, the point is that it's not saving us loads and loads of money. Instead, I've just found it to be a better way to find alternatives to things that we would normally do, which then led me to reconsider, do I even need paper towels or napkins, for example? Maybe I can use kitchen towels instead to dry my hands instead of a paper towel, or cloth napkins like you get at a restaurant. Both of those are washable. I don't have to keep buying those things over and over again. Maybe it's a way to save a few bucks here and there. So give it a shot. Let me know what you think. The last one, you may have guessed it, I've talked about it before in other videos, is I don't spend money on liquids. I just drink water, basically for all of my drinks. I have orange juice in the morning, but what I mean when I say I don't spend money on liquids is mainly when it comes to going out to eat. Somebody in the comments said, you know water's free at restaurants? Yes, okay. When I said I bring this everywhere, I don't mean I bring this into restaurants for the most part. I'll get water there, but if I'm just going out, I have water with me all the time. Point being, water is free. Soda, coffee, alcohol, those things are not free, and I don't like any of them. None of them make me feel good. I already mentioned earlier, I have a little girl stomach. I can't really handle. If I drink alcohol, I feel it immediately. If I drink soda, I feel bloated, and coffee just tastes gross. I don't get it. It tastes like dirt water. People love it. There's a whole cult movement behind it. Fine. More for you. That's okay. My wife loves coffee. We actually have a very nice Breville coffee machine that we bought in 2020 because I knew how much she loved it. And so it's a huge part of our house, but I don't buy it personally and I don't buy other drinks. Instead, we have a super nice water filter that cleans out basically everything from tap water, and the filters in it last, I think, 3,000 gallons each, so 6,000 gallons total. In other words, if we had 2 gallons of water per day, it would take us a little over 8 years to use up those filters. So it's a really cost-effective way to get very clean water for a long time, and so you don't need to go spend money on other things, technically. So that's my list. If you want to see how much all these little habits have saved me over time, check out this video next where I go over my net worth as of just a couple weeks ago, and I'll see you there. Peace. This is harder than I thought. All right, get out of here.